HSTLUP podcast dedicated to all those who grind past a traditional 40-hour work week to create a life by design, whatever that looks like. The beautiful thing about this is that everybody's passion project looks different. Everybody's side hustle can look different. Whatever that means to you, life by design means life on your terms. My name is Clint.
Jonathan.
And this is a one and done segment on owning your emotions, owning your emotional response. So it's stoicism, it's existentialism, it's this idea that other people don't make you mad. You actively or inactively choose to get mad. Other people don't fuck your day up. You know, a situation happens and then you fuck your day up.
Yeah.
So back on this idea, Viktor Frankl, we've brought this up before. We've covered this, Man's Search for Meaning. It's an amazing book. It's not that long. You read the first half, which is on his experience in a Nazi death camp. It's Auschwitz. And then the second half is on his idea of logotherapy. So he designs an entire therapy around owning your response. And his idea is that no matter what the Nazis took away from him, no matter what his captors did to him or how they made life miserable, the one thing that was in his control was how he responded to the situation. And it's a beautiful idea. Whether you're at work, whether you're in traffic, no matter where you are, if something happens to you, it's almost like this out of body. You mentioned it as a bubble. You're looking down on the bubble. Like, here it is. What was the thing you said about the casino? Going into the casino with somebody else's money?
Oh yeah, if you're able to detach from your emotions, like I was using that as like, or not someone else's money, but you know how, I guess it is. It's like gambling with pretend money, right?
Yeah.
When the money doesn't have any real value, you're more willing to bet and risk with it, right? It's the same thing with your emotions. When you're not attached to them, and you know, the book by Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now, is where I got this visualization from, which is if I have some kind of internal dialogue going on in my head, put it in a bubble and look at it, and don't see it as something that I'm watching as opposed to something that's attached to me.
That's right.
And when I'm able to do that, I'm able to reflect on it and analyze and see how I feel about it. You know, and this is applicable to everything in life. This is in business meetings. Can you stay emotionally attached in logical thinking through a negotiation?
He who is the least emotional, he who can remain calm, or she who can remain calm, wins in the situation. When other people are blowing up, you almost take a more chill, like you balance that out, the yin to the yang there. If somebody's getting more and more heated, or if somebody on your team is freaking out, you're calming down. You got to be that voice of calm, that voice of reason. How are we going to fix this? Your mind can race 100 different ways when you're under stress, when you're under pressure. And it's like, okay, well, it goes back creating that prioritized list. I've said this 40 times this week. What's the next actionable item that we're going to take or take action on in order to knock this out? Like, failure is not an option, especially if failure is not an option. What are we going to do next? How are we going to solve this problem? And removing yourself.
And when you do that, when you remove yourself, it's mentally freeing. And I even go, you know, here's one of my kind of loony things that happens to be backed by every time I practice it. It just works out, right? It gets affirmed.
Sure.
But
it's meta.
It is, right.
Yeah.
It's when I'm sick, or the other day when my knee hurt. First off, I don't have that self-talk. I'm sick. Like, I'm delusionally optimistic. Where I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm talking myself out of it.
Yeah.
But even more so, like,
I don't get sick.
Yeah, I'm literally detaching from whatever it is. Like, I'm able to say, this is a problem that is something is going on inside of me, and I need to figure it out, isolate it, and get it fixed.
If anybody's tuning in for the first time or hasn't heard the Little Soldiers idea before, pop that one off.
So that's that your cells, which your body's comprised of over, you know, I think it's like 50 trillion cells.
Gazillion.
Yeah, your body is a biome like sample.
Yeah.
It's a community governed by your brain more so than it is a person. So when you look into the mirror, you're seeing an aggregation of 50 trillion cells, right? And so each one of those cells has a mind of its own. And so do you want it to be a doctor that fixes your body back to health, or do you want it to be something like disease worthy, like sugar or something? Yeah, like you can again, your perception controls your reality. That's also an internal biological thing.
I heard a ridiculous statistic that makes sense. The more often you go to the doctor, the sooner you'll die. There's a confirmation bias with the doctor that they want to prescribe you for whatever it is you think you have. And in the age of the internet, like, you're looking this stuff up, you're looking your symptoms up. WebMD was I mean, it's a good thing, it's a great thing, but it's also caused a lot of pain, right? So you're looking all these symptoms up, you're finding out what's wrong with you, and then when you bring it up to the doctor, they're prescribing you based off your own diagnosis. And you could be, I mean, y'all could both be wrong, right? It's not a good thing. But the sooner you go to the doctor, the more you go to the doctor, the earlier that you will die.
That's right. And you know the whole so emotionally attached is important, right? So what do you do with that knowledge? How do you build that and when we say emotionally attached, that doesn't mean the lack of detached, right?
Yeah.
That doesn't mean the lack of empathy. That doesn't mean don't enjoy yourself.
Nope.
What it means is keep these experiences, stay present, and be completely present in these experiences and feel the vibes and put the vibes. Be a mirror of the energy you're getting and deflect it positively in the moment. It just means don't be attached to something after it happens. And one of the big things that I like to talk about is, right, so the past is an objective thing that happened. This conversation happened. But because of our inputs and how we have certain language in our head, we're going to talk about and perceive this experience differently. There could be many similarities or an overall motif or vibe that we have in our heads, but we're still going to conceptualize it separately because we have different language in our heads. So that's the past. And the future is the same thing, but without that objective thing that happened. It's just language about what could happen.
It's a perception shift.
Right. And when you have that, you get attached to an expectation. And when you have that, you get attached to the past. And if you can just be, and it's detaching from all of that and fully being coherent, cognizant, and present is the overarching term. Mentally, spiritually, and healthy. Health, physically healthy, but mentally and spiritually free to enjoy the moment and analyze and like take it in and analyze it.
So be present, plan for the future, learn from the past. This goes back to, and we got 3 books on this one. The E-Myth, right? Yeah. You've got the entrepreneur, the technician, and the manager. Managers are always learning from the past. Technicians are solving the problems in the present, and the entrepreneur is planning or guiding the strategic direction for what they want in the future. Right. Where is this ship going to sail and how's it going to get there?
Yeah. So,
one thing that we're going to do is we're going to put up the book list. In fact, after this episode, which I don't know when this episode will air, he and I are going to get together. We're going to submit a book list, and we'll take our list, cross off the items that are the same, and upload that to, hey, here are the things that we're reading and that we have read over the last year, 18 months, 2 years even, I don't know, over the last while that we thought were useful and relevant in our journey in entrepreneurship and continual lifelong learning in this walk. And we will put that, it'll be right next to the blog, maybe right next to the merch, I don't know. We got 2 things that we're adding to the site, but it'll be in big bold letters at the top of our website, so you can see if you need a book recommendation, if you're out of something to read, maybe if you don't know what to read, check out some of these. We might put a short description next to it as well.
We've also played with the idea of making a Hustle Up playlist on different audio streaming platforms for music. So Apple Music, I don't think you can, maybe Apple Music, Spotify SoundCloud. For sure. So that'll come up in the future too. But I guess another thing, just to tie it back in, that I practice, so we're big on the practicality and the action part. I don't want to just sit here and preach the importance of emotional detachment. I want to talk about how I try and, get better and better at that over time. And one of the best practices for me, and which I spoke about at our event recently, was meditation. And my 2 favorite quotes about meditation are, every controlled breath you take is like a bicep curl for your mind. So every controlled breath you take is like a bicep curl for your mind. And what that does is, well, here's the other quote, because this is simply what it is. Sometimes to speed up where you want to go, the best thing to do is to slow down everything. just enjoy the present, be present, and meditate. And that's the way to do that, right? So the controlled breath is meditation. I also have in my affirmations today, I will focus on on controlling my breath and having better posture, right? So I have it in my affirmations. I practice meditation daily, and I make sure that I have my controlled breath, because if you're focusing on breathing, you're not focusing on thinking or overthinking. And that's really what that emotional attachment is.
And for me, I've got two. One of them's more important than the other. When you're looking at mind, body, and spirit, when you're feeding the mind and you're exhausting the body with a physical exercise, specifically pushing the body, that spirit portion comes into alignment. So there's something spiritual and medicinal about lifting heavy weights, not just putting in reps, but lifting heavy weights and exhausting your body. There's something amazing about the breath work that comes from sustained high heart rate cardio. I'm not just running 2 miles. I'm running 2 miles as fast as I can. I'm running a mile as fast as I can, and then building on that 3, 5, whatever. And additionally, this is less spiritual, but more just in that total package idea. Daily reading time. If you're not carving out the time if you're not making time for these things to learn, to grow, to push your body, you'll end up doing, it's that Stephen Covey quadrant. You'll end up spending all of your time in the high urgent, high importance. Your goal, that's Q1 for me. Your goal is to spend time in Q3. That's your strategic, that's the strategic planning phase.
Important, not urgent.
Important, not urgent. This is where you get all the work done for the future. This is where you're able to build and grow and strategize.
That's right. So my last thing would be practical things that you could take away to achieve emotional detachment or get better at it. And again, if you don't understand what the importance of that is, rewind this to the beginning, because that's what we talked about. But definitely check out David Goggins. Definitely read The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. Practice meditation by going onto YouTube and typing in 10-minute guided meditation or 10-minute meditation music if you don't like guided. And just focus on your breath work and posture. And all of that will help you achieve that goal of being detached from your emotions. So those are 4 practical things. Would love to hear, if you do any of them, what you thought, or if you have any other better practices. Comment below, subscribe, share. Spread the love, share the message, follow us at HSTLUP, hustle up, www.hstlup.com. Got a lot of videos, got a lot of blogs, got a lot of audios, got a lot of meetups, got a lot of people, got a lot of vibes, a lot of energy, got an awesome message, increasingly better production quality every time we do this.